His breath was full, the moment wide and whole. Each motion matched a world without a goal. No need to reach, no urge to make or mend. The adept walked where nothing had to end. He stood within the form he never chose. Each stance a truth the body simply knows. No thought intrudes, no silent doubt is named, just presence vast and neither tamed nor claimed. But from that stillness stirred a foreign sound, a note that trembled where no edge was found. The clarity grew brittle, shaped by strain. The seamless world began to split again. The echo struck and made the silence bend, a thread pulled taut that had no clear amend. He turned to meet the call, unsure, aware. The world now moved, and he must answer where. He reached for speech to house what stirred inside, but every word grew crooked as it tried. The sentence stuttered, form became a guess, and meaning hovered just beyond express. Yet every word invoked a sharper hush, a silence thick with questions he must brush. The stillness did not end the cry, but grew, and what returned was deeper than he knew. Now speech gave way to structure, tight and clean, a cause for every pulse the world had seen. The echo's thread he drew into a line, and named the shape that once had seemed divine. His hands now built the form that reason gave, a map, a plan, a scaffold he could save. The pain became a sequence he could trace, and suffering assumed its rightful place. But something cracked behind the frame he drew, a tension in the logic breaking through. For every reason tightened like a chain, and clarity grew thin beneath the strain. A flash emerged that thought could not explain. A form arose from neither loss nor gain. The silence bore a shape beyond design, a pattern felt but foreign to the line. The adept saw, but could not say how so. The leap occurred before the steps could show. The voice he heard was not the one he spoke. It surged from silence, not from pattern's yoke, but thought recoiled and reached to pin it down, to fit the sky into a smaller crown. The insight quaked beneath the weight of claim, and knowing turned to echoes, not to flame. Each sight he saw now layered through with tone, the present rich with meanings not his own. No motion stood apart, no glance was bare. All things he touched returned with weight to spare. The adept sifted past, and now as one, no single thread, but all things yet begun. Reflection deepened till the thought took root, and silence bore a darker kind of fruit. But meaning pressed too tightly on the skin, and everything outside pulled more within. The form, once clear, grew burdened with its past. Too much to carry, far too deep to last. The breath returned with sharpened weight and hue, each sound imbued with more than what it knew. The world now rang with relevance and sting. The adept felt the shape of everything. No fact stood still. Each bore a charged intent, each silence full of things that silence meant. And when he spoke, the words came thick and grave, not chosen but the only he could save. But when the world gave meaning without end, and every thought turned symbol or a friend, the form began to crack beneath the mass, and sense dissolved too fast for it to pass. He moved, and motion gathered where he stood, each step aligned with what the moment could. No plan, no grasp, but all within his grip. The world, a sea he mastered in the slip. His thoughts arose like breath from flowing bone, no longer from a place that stood alone. They answered not his will, but something near, a voice within the pattern of the sphere. But when the music faltered for a beat, the harmony dissolved beneath his feet. The grace he'd known proved delicate and brief, and truth gave way to stillness laced with grief. Now every act emerged from knowing ground, no random move, no gesture made unbound. He placed himself with care in time's own stream, and all he did aligned with all he'd seen. He entered fully in the life he led, No longer drawn by dreams or fears, he fled. Each deed became the structure of his role, and story coalesced around the whole. But wholeness held too tightly starts to freeze. The self turns rigid, reaching for old keys. The dance became a diagram too tight, and even light can overfill the sight. He acted from the instincts shaped by pain, the old responses echoing again. They served him well where trials matched their frame, and in their rhythm little need for name. But now the world had shifted far askew, the tools he'd mastered bent on what was new. His old commands met things they could not hold, and answers cracked and stories lost their fold. For even form can chain the one it guides, and vision dull beneath what sense provides. So intuition cleaved the script in two, and chaos carved the need to make it new. Now everything became a woven cue, each face recalled a pattern that he knew. He moved as if the world had taught the dance, each step a relic, not a random chance. His thoughts arrived already shaped and set, decisions made before the choice was met. The present bowed to memory's command, a story told before the world could stand. But stories told too often turn to trap, their weight enforcing what becomes a gap. The adept felt the shape begin to spin, and knew he'd have to find the truth within. He saw the other not as one apart, but as a voice that shaped his very heart. Their silence too had echoed through his path, and every gaze returned what he once hath. His self was not a structure he must find, but breath, and name, and mirror of the kind. No longer lone, he bore the world's design. The line between began to blur and shine. The mind no longer sought to end or bind, but gave the shape the story left behind. And when he stood, the silence did not close. It opened with the path the next one chose.